Alrighty, I've had a couple day break from playing Pillars of Eternity. I needed that break. Game was just dragging on a little long, and I wanted to 100% it, which include all the DLC and the side quests. Uh, and it was just, I needed a break, so I took a day and played Hollow Knight instead of Pillars of Eternity, uh, which helped revitalize me. I haven't streamed all weekend because I've been busy with family stuff. So back to our regular scheduled streaming schedule, and I'm going to play some Pillars of Eternity. So we're going to explore the current area we're in. Um, we're going to avoid going to the last area to beat the game because then you can't do the DLC from what I've read. Or any side quests you left. So it's basically a point of no return. So I'm going to stay doing, working on the side quests, working on the DLC, working on tasks, etc. Because I do want 100% Pillars of Eternity. And I needed that break because I'm 60 hours in. And while 60 hours is a pretty decent number for an RPG, this game's looking like it's probably going to be about a 100-hour RPG when you factor in the DLC. So I just need a bit of break. And we're going to continue playing Hollow Knight as well. Probably every couple days we'll take a day and do Hollow Knight. So we already did Galawain's Maw. So let's explore this area. We came in from over here, so let's just finish exploring over this way.
Builder's wisdom to you.
An Orlan woman stares at the sky with an air of deep contemplation. She occasionally puffs from a wooden pipe, blowing smoke into perfect rings. What stands before me? She wipes her lips with the back of her hand. Her teeth, uneven and pointy, are stained red. I do not see Estra Morn often. She picks the remains of an ochre root stuck in her gums. And believe me, I see many things. Perhaps you want to see them too, yes? She gestures behind her at an assortment of plants, roots, and vials lying on the rug. Let me see what you have for trade. Present these happily. Not really anything of much interest. Just a herbalist. Okay, so I came down this way. I explored up here, so I gotta explore up there. I got a quest for there. Nobody to see me. Means it's not stealing if nobody can see you.
What brings you here?
Salutations, Estermore, the Orlan chirps in a sing-song voice. I am known as Delim, chanter of old song. I trust you're enjoying the beauty of this sacred place? Are you the resident entertainer? I sing to entertain Old Song's visitors, but alas, the crowds have thinned into little more than a trickle. The chill wind from Rimgard's temples driving people away. Now I sing, but nobody listens. My music is without purpose. But I know of a solution, a way for me to make my songs warm and passionate, countering Rimgard's incessant chill. The Orlan smiles and reaches out with a grasping motion. All I need are a few rare songbirds. I could eat them and absorb their musical energy. With that kind of musical prowess in my soul, I could sing a song that could bring back the merry crowds. You want to eat the songbirds? I don't think it works that way. The Orlan stares at you, dumbfounded, before rolling his eyes and lecturing you. Eating the muscles of animals makes you stronger, right? And if you consume green stalks, do you not take on their pungent smell, even down to the water you pass? He smiles, pleased with his reasoning. Just as one cannot sweat if one is parched, I cannot sing without a nourished soul. It's all very basic. Did your parents teach you nothing of the food dropping cycles? The food drop-ins cycle? Spare me your reasoning, I'll help. Delum's eyes widen with delight. Splendid, he exclaims with clapping hands. For my song to be pitch perfect, I will need a tiem, a bird often found throughout Twin Elms, often in high tree nests, but some have been domesticated. I'll also need a shardwing. Shardwings prefer to nest in adder formations. Suits their natural camouflage the best. Oh, and most importantly, if I plan on hitting those high notes, I'm going to need a cloud singer. Those little warblers can only be found in the highest mountain peaks. Many thanks, Estermore. Bring me these birds and I'll sing like Hylia herself. Alright.
Builder's wisdom to you.
The thin, ragged man stands waiting on the barge, leaning on the oar. A smile of greeting splits his weathered features. It's been a very long time since an outsider sought passage to the Burial Isle. What is the Burial Isle? It is a sacred place, for it sits upon the great works of the builders. There, by our ancestors, all our Anamfaths are laid to rest. Few go there, my friend. It is not a place where the living to walk. Is it dangerous? Dorval nods solemnly. Those I bring to the island return the same way, or else not at all. It is home only to the dead. Spirits, shades of the builders remain and watch over our Anamfatha. They are bound to the island and protect it fiercely. I don't want to go there yet. Oh, looks like torture racks. Okay, I know I have a quest for Noonfrost, so let's go there.
The chill of Rimagon's oblivion. The mindless beast, easily brought to heel by the fire.
Find Alwa.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep to ourselves.
Oh, found somebody. Vescal, the pale elf searches you with ice blue eyes. She shifts and knits her fingers together. Welcome to Noonfrost. Most of the temple is currently closed for sacred ceremonies to Rimgard. She forces a smile and waves to the eastern doorway. The shrine is to the right. You're welcome to make your offerings to Rimgard there, but the rest of the temple's off limits. Seems the cold has spread from Noonfrost. She stiffens. Rimgard is the god of winter. It's been many years since this temple was attended, so there's nothing strange about a little chill around the place now. She lowers her head. If it bothers you, then perhaps you should go. Her eyes dart between the two doors on either side of the room. If that's all, tell me about Rimgand. He's the god of cold, entropy, and collapse. Many see him as a harsh god, but few recognize that he also gives life in his own way. All things wind to a merciful end in his shadow, only to feed creation elsewhere. She frowns, gnawing at her lip. He is a silent god, and his ways are mysterious. To follow him is to accept inevitability without explanation. Why is most of the temple closed? As I said, we're in the middle of sacred ceremonies, she enunciates carefully. They're rather complex, and we don't want permit our outsiders to witness them. She glances at the elves over her shoulders. Others of my clan get rather touchy about them, which is why you should visit the shrine and take your leave. That's a pity. I was hoping to learn more about these practices. The more complicated, the better, I say. What are you doing here? My clan journeyed from the White That Wends to pay homage to Rimgand here at Noonfrost. We'd learned that this place had been abandoned for several years, and we felt it our duty to tend to one of our god's oldest temples. She rolls her shoulders back. It has been a long journey, but Rimgand demands endurance. No doubt he'll reward us for ours. Sagani's mouth is set in a grim frown. I hope it is.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet.
The pages of his tome glisten under a thick layer of frost. The water of this well is frozen solid, trapping small fish from the lake underneath the temple. Refracted light dapples the icy mirror behind the statue. Hold, Wanderer. Venturing beyond all doors is forbidden. Do not trespass against our will. Okay.
Quiet.
Each line and wrinkle of this warrior's weather-beaten frown has been chiseled from the ice.
I'll give it a try, as requested.
Okay, we got a key. We're just going through the open doors for now. No farther. Okay.
Can't feel my toes. I'll take a look.
Let's see what's over here.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet.
What is my quest for here? Let's see what's... I guess I could see what's over here. I mean, I don't want to break their rules, but... I don't want to do that. There might be a better way of handling that. Let me go turn in a different quest. Then we'll figure out where to go next.
Right.
Been a pleasant surprise traveling with you, Harabia.
I was on the road alone for years, and I'm happy to have company for a change.
My part of the country has a saying about Orlans. Face of skin, let 'em in. Face of hair, best beware. But you're more like a skin-faced Orlan.
Okay, let's go to Old Elm's Reach, because I believe that's where Galawain's face is that I have to talk to. Or Galawain's, that's where I have to go talk to Galawain to complete the quest I did inside Galawain's Maw.
No. A man's spine without lopping the head clean off. That takes aim.
Did that once. In my case, it was an accident, and I still wake up some nights feeling bad for him.
You kneel, prepared for the shift this time. The cool stone gives way to warm soil, soft and loamy. The candle smoke dissipates, replaced by the musk of the forest. The hound howls from the foliage. I've come to seek Galawain's favor. The howling beasts fall silent, and you hear a rustling in the foliage nearby. Something is watching you. Howl back. Something leaps from the bushes nearby. You find yourself pinned on your back and staring into the amber eyes of a massive hound. The beast looks at you. Gleaming fangs protrude from the sides of its mouth. Its nose twitches as it inhales your scent, starting at your shoulder and proceeding down the length of your arm. You follow its nose to your hand, which is covered in blood. A tongue as red and meaty as a steak lolls out of its mouth and swipes your bloody hand. Its lips curl into what looks like a smile. The beast looks back at you, and as it fixes you with its glowing eyes, its muzzle retreats into a long bearded face, and its pointed ears lengthen, dropping to the sides of its head. What was a massive hound becomes a giant of a man, his broad muscled shoulders draped with furs. He holds a flint knife to your neck and grins, revealing a row of long pointed teeth.
Tread carefully. Let my face be a warning sign to always treat Galawain and his messengers with caution and reverence.
The lioness reigns still, and soon her cubs will rise. Why did you strike the bear down?
If Auranos could not seize his victory, he did not deserve it.
As always, you sniff out the heart of the matter. Worthiness is proven in conflict. Might grappling with might. Flesh tears, bones break, and the ones that mend are stronger still. Blood mixes, and the worthier substance rises to the top. And you have proven worthy.
He lets out a howl that rings through the air. He lowers his head, puffs of steam rising from his panting mouth. Twigs crunch and branches snap. The ground shivers under the weight of pacing, prowling footsteps. A dozen beasts, bears, wolves, and long-fanged cats, stalk out of the undergrowth, their matching amber eyes fast on you. Herivase paces about, sizing up the pack and circling the party as he emits a Stelgar's growl. Such powerful specimens! Larger than anything I've seen in the deepest forests of Ericlonfoth. The father of monsters is deserving of his name. As the beasts encircle you, their master rises to his feet. Even the largest of the bears can only reach his brown and muscle-knotted shoulders. You stand, mindful of the ring of predators surrounding you.
You sought and won the favor of Galawain. What new prey do you now pursue?
I hunt Theos.
To track a quarry, you must understand its movements. And Theos follows the path of a more powerful master.
A warm breeze carries the smell of smoke and gunpowder. Sparks ignite and float in the draft, catching in the leaves over Galawain's head. A sudden blast of heat scalds your face, and even as you turn away, a flash of light sears your vision through your eyelids. When you look back, you see a woman in full plate standing next to Galawain. Her mirror-polished armor flickers with images of reflected flames. You can't see her face, but her voice is strong and clear, like the ringing of steel.
Let him know his foe.
Oh, Magrin's helping. The horde breaks the silence at last. Have you missed me, Magrin? You may have found other lovers, but surely none that was my equal. Magrin says nothing in response. Indeed, she never even glances in Durance's direction. An involuntary tic causes the baggy skin beneath Durance's eyes to quiver. He says no more, his ruddy skin blanched white.
Theos has trapped thousands of souls in sun and shadow, like rabbits in a snare. Now, he goes there to retrieve the kill for his master, Woodica.
One of the bears paws at the ground in irritation, its hackles rising.
She will feast on them, suck their marrow, grow strong on their essence.
Why would Theos help Woodica?
Because he is her hound. He has always done her bidding.
His eyes dart to another figure standing just behind Magrin.
Woodica stands for an old order. So does Theos.
A golem made of blackened pitted iron steps out of Magrin's shadow. Its movements are slow yet precise, each footfall accompanied by the groaning and grinding of metal. The steady orange glow of furnace coals emanates from its eye sockets.
They both fear change, and the Deerwood has changed much recently. People find answers not in the gods, but in animancy, the product of their own labors.
And why not? When they have learned that even a god can be killed.
Terrence's eyes are wide, his beard is matted with sweat. Was that not as you commanded, my lady? We sought only to stoke your pride by bringing your vision to reality. Ragran stands still, unwavering. It is as though she has not heard him at all. You haven't done anything to stop Theos.
There is a pact. One Woedica herself has just barely kept. We gods must allow mortals to direct their own affairs.
This limit keeps peace between us.
So Woedica directs Theos, and he does her will.
Durance grunts. And these gods do the same with us.
It is not our fight.
Animancy doesn't seem to trouble you. The three gods seem to look at one another. One of the wolves sits and scratches its neck with quick strokes of its hind leg.
The clash of ideas, the search for answers and meaning. These are other hunts.
This is the destiny of Kith, to struggle and transform, even through animancy.
And to improve. Steady labor and earnest industry elevate Kith above Wilder and Beast. It is also useful that they should learn to improve their souls, whether through struggle, transformation, or labor. On this, at least, we have no disagreement.
What should I do about it?
Track Theos. Follow the trail he has left for you, and corner him in sun and shadow.
You have hired out your strength in the service of others, Watcher. Now we ask that you employ your talents for the benefit of all of the Deerwood. You must stop Theos before he empowers Woedica.
And if you do, you will have a different decision to make.
I have a really bad feeling that this decision is a trap. I mean, how often do the gods really leave the decisions up to mortals like us?
Souls were ripped from the world, ripe and full and pulsing with essence. Scatter them like bones to a pack of dogs. Their essence will strengthen the souls of the Deerwood. Let the remains of the dead feed the survivors.
Why would I feed the lost soul's essence to the rest of Deerwood?
To breed strength. Power is born from the mixing of essence and blood.
The wolves snarl and snap.
What Theos did cannot be undone. Thousands of lives have changed, and thousands more have ended because of his actions. But transformation gives purpose to trial.
And improvement is the goal of all Kith. Long lives, prosperous futures, stronger minds and bodies. Strengthening those who remain will help repair the damage that Theos has done to the Deerwood.
If Woedica can accomplish this, then perhaps she deserves her victory. You make a sound point. If she is victorious, then she'll prove herself most capable and the most devious of the gods. Here Vaes casts his gaze away from the clever hound as his voice drops to a strained whisper. Galawain teaches that one ought to celebrate the fittest in any struggle, but what good could possibly come if Woedica's plan succeeded? The bear at Galawain's side rises on its hind leg and roars. It falls back on all fours with a ground-shaking thud. Galawain points his chipped flint dagger at you.
A victory that leaves her ruler of all. No room for conflict, no struggle, not even between the gods.
Be careful what you wish for, mortal. Woedica's ways are regressive. Her laws never change, her authority never ebbs, and she never forgets a slight.
Woedica would crush the Deerwood simply out of vengeance for the rebellion against Adir, her favorite. She would stamp out Animancers, Godslayers from the Saints' War, and anyone else she viewed as heretical or dangerous.
Anyone who might ask the wrong questions or seek out answers to the same, Canis smiles wryly. We've posed a question or two ourselves, I think. I don't see why I should care.
Because your soul will be at her mercy, and already you know too much.
Boudica will not keep the pact. She will interfere with mortals the very way we have always avoided. Your development will no longer be in your own hands.
Stagnation. You will be caged and stunted.
Now, I've got to find Theos.
And when you descend the pit to Sun in Shadow, you can count on our assistance to see you safely through. As I hope we can count on yours when you reach the bottom. There are many souls upon the Burial Isle that are sworn to serve us. They belong to you now, and they shall guide your descent.
Durance's face is grave. Beware the promises of a God Watcher. They are binding, but only in one direction. The beasts grow restless, pawing the ground and eyeing you with renewed interest. The bear sniffs at the ground next to your leg. Once Stalgar skulks into the circle, its amber eyes glowing. Galawain hurls his knife between your feet, sinking it to its handle. He raises his empty hand.
Hunt him, mortal. And when you stop him, let the souls he has captured feed the Deerwood.
Strengthen the souls of those who remain. Prepare them to face the challenges that will follow. Pledge that you will do this, and we will grant you a power fit for the finest warrior who ever lived.
Betray us, and my beasts shall track you down. Our allegiance is not to be accepted and cast aside.
My friend, this is a most auspicious moment. The Lord of the Hunt has spoken to you without omission or riddles. Heed what he said about his beast seeking you out should you stray from the task, for it is not an empty promise.
I would hear what the other gods have to say first.
Consider and calculate, but decide.
Galawain's hand falls, and the growling pack lunges into the circle. The vision vanishes in an instant, returning you to Ter Evron, where burning candles replace the glowing eyes of Galawain's beasts. Alright, quest completed. Talk to Durance about Boudica. Bunch of quests updated. Quest completed, it looks like. The hunt for Nidhine's remains proved difficult, as the Glanfathans lied incessantly to cover for those who were responsible, and Orlan Brishalgwyn helped Aloth sort the truth out, eventually recovering every part of the dead murderer's body. Though the Glanfathans were more than willing to lie about what they had done, none of them turned violent when Aloth and the Brishalgwyn confronted them, and Anamfath ordered the Brishalgwyn to bury the body in a new location that was less well-traveled than the pass near Cleoban Relag. Upon return to Caed Nua, Aloth realized that the Anamfath had never asked for Nidhine's ring finger to be returned. Alright, got a new... Nothing new to report. Okay. I gotta talk to Durance about Boudica.
What is it, Watcher?
Does what we learned about Boudica trouble you?
It stinks of her. It is justice, but if her greater purpose was to think Margaret would fall prey to such deceit. And Aethys. Weidwyn had always claimed to be invading Deerwood to free it. What if it were true? What if he had come to stop Boudica's plot before it began? Surely Aethys earned his death at Godhammer Citadel, but not for those reasons. Not to keep him silent. If such a thing has brought about this chaos...
Durance tilts his head, as if listening to an inner voice. Then he frowns, the frown deepening as he speaks.
Must we always be tools of gods? If Woodica and Margren, if they are the cause of this, the Hollowborn, if the Purges were never necessary, if Aethys was fighting back...
Whatever the reason, Aethys still sought to murder others, inflict his will on others.
No. It had to be done, yet there would have been times where I would have stayed my hand. Woodica, she must answer to her own justice.
Would it have been better had you been spared this knowledge?
No, I am glad to have walked this far with you, seen this truth. Perhaps it was what I was meant to see, with a Watcher's eyes. All these dances of words and intrigues, machines of men, twisted, ripping the souls of children, and by the gods, the goddess of justice. If I could end her like Aethys, Margren burned her once. One can do so again. Woodica, she must answer to her own justice.
Justice or revenge?
Anyone with a shred of spirit seeks both justice and punishment. It burns in the heart of anyone who lives. All seek it. If the world does not balance, we all drown in the oceans. And the gods would not care. Margren, she must be redeemed. And punishing Woodica, that will serve.
Do we know that Margren was not a willing accomplice?
Is this some final joke at my expense? To test my faith further? And why would you think that, Watcher?
The others who made the Godhammer, they all died, didn't they? That's why I saw their symbols fade from your staff.
If all you have are questions, then I have enough of those. She is a bitch of a goddess, to be sure. But even a whore only goes so far in crossing those she serves.
You said you left Ashfall without telling anyone of your departure.
You answer a question with a question. Then why did I feel her disappointment at Halgot? Why were we shamed?
Because I think she tried to kill you there.
Kill me? She is a goddess. I still drink from her burning breasts, Watcher. If she wished me dead, she could trace me to my source and kill me.
In the dream of the Godhammer, your spirit looked blurred, indistinct in the light, as if it had been sheared from you. If you had been damaged, as I saw in the Godhammer's vision, then she may be unable to see you as you once were. Durance turns from you for a moment, his face twists in thought, conflicting emotions running across his features. Finally, he turns to you, his face steady.
There's no proof, Watcher. I was a fool to think you could help me see any farther than I could.
If you don't trust me, then trust your staff. Admit that the other Godhammer builders are dead. Durance turns to the staff, and for a moment you see his eyes burning, taking in the edges of the wood, the symbols inlaid there, the 11 faded circles.
They died in the blast, yes. The other 11. I was the only one to walk away. I thought we had wronged our goddess. That this was my trial, and if I could prove myself worthy of her! I should have known better. There is only one God of redemption, and I saw him ended.
As he studies the staff, you feel a wave of heat, a terrible energy rolling forth from it in waves, so much so it feels as if the Godhammer itself is alive in his hands, and past it you hear a cry, like a child being born, and your eyes feel the flash of white, then 100 maddened shades of purple and white, streaming and circling into the howling of a storm, and beneath it the grinding of ancient machines of stone, rock, and metal, grinding and turning until all around you feels as if it's burning, sinking into the shadows of the earth, beneath the ground, the only place where a spirit might find refuge. When your vision clears, you see Durance, his hands clutching the staff, and his eyes are bright, burning red. Atop the staff, the flame burns cleanly, brightly. As his gaze burns, he rips his gaze away and howls, a bellowing, hard howl, like a wounded animal, and sweat pours down his brow. Durance, we can make this right. We could see that justice is served, to her and Wodika both.
To think I served her, I followed her. Now I shall serve no one. Wodika's lies must be answered. And now it seems I must take fire and war from a goddess's false claim as well. I still take from her strength as I did, for as long as it lasts. For I shall not cast her aside yet, until I have drained her dry and had my fill, just as she intended for me. For I have learned one of the lessons of the faithful. The faithful may wound a goddess greater than any enemy. A purification is coming, and this fire shall consume them both.
Let's continue on. Alright, finally I completed that one. Yes.
Huh?
Save our game. Now Durance, if I don't want him with us, I could always drop him off somewhere. Or send him home.
Consider and calculate.
Pray to Hylia. Your words seem to fade once voiced, as if they are cast into a vast emptiness. The hall grows deathly still and silent, and then the ground starts to tremble beneath your feet.
Don't even point at
You could go for some shut-eye about now.
You shut your eyes to pray. As you wait in the darkness, the world around you changes. You feel sunlight bright and warm on your face. The light breeze carries music to your ears. As vivid as these sensations feel, you somehow know they are not real. You look around and find yourself standing in an open-air temple built on a mountain summit. It's filled with elves, Orlans, and assorted other kith. Ringing the entire scene is a fringe of trees, their verdant branches filled with birds of all different colors, shapes, and sizes. Durance spits. A paradise for those who would waste their lives exploring the meaningless while corrupting the meaning of the real world. Oh, to set these trees ablaze, Watcher. Everyone is singularly absorbed in a particular pursuit. An Orlan sits with a canvas, a paintbrush in his hand, and jars of green, blue, and yellow pigments at his feet. An elf and an Amoa standing to the side are locked in conversation, their expressions dancing with delight. Still others scribble stanzas of poetry or crude sketches on sheets of paper, losing themselves in the delicate minutiae of lines and syllables. You feel the breeze again, and two elves basking in the sunlight shiver. Look at this place, all these people coming together to share their creations, and... Canna frowns. What on earth is that painting supposed to be? The largest group gathers in the middle of the temple. They sing a lush, chaotic harmony composed of several complementary melodies. Others drift towards the singers in ones and twos, as if buffeted by a gust of wind or a phrase of the song. A ripple passes through the trees. You think that it's the wind, but the chirping changes to screeching. Hundreds of birds take to the skies, all heading in one direction, away. Hervé emits a series of chirping bird calls as the flock scrambles into the air. This is bad, Hervé mutters, his face turned sour. Something has them spooked, but they won't tell me what. Then again, I think I mispronounced my bird song and probably called them incontinent. The devotees glance at the trees, just barely distracted from their activities. but the wind picks up, scattering their pages of poetry and art and ripping the songs from their lips. They look skyward and you follow their gaze. A dark shape blots out the sun. You can't tell what it is, but as it unfolds and expands, it seems to fill the sky. The wind roars over the summit. That explains the birds. Before you can flee, a shadow falls over the temple. It begins as a stain in the corner and spreads, blotting out the flagstones. It reaches the nearest kith, a black-furred Orlin. The darkness swallows her, leaving only a puff of smoke in her place. The two elves that you saw earlier, a man and a woman, flee. You get a brief image of them huddled in the shadows of a mountain. They seem to see you too, and they reach out, calling silently after you. The others, however, seem frozen. As the shadow advances, they likewise vanish one by one. The driving gale scatters their ashes and the charred remains of their creations. You look up again at the source of the shadow, but the eclipsed sun forms a blinding corona around the thing. You can't make out any details. I already talked to those two elves, and it's a dragon that is perched on Hylia's peak. You can, however, feel heat. Restore my temple. You look down and find yourself standing next to Hylia's shrine in Terra Everon. Your pulse still races and your skin is damp with sweat from the strange encounter.
Sure.
Once more, you stand before the shrine in the skull constellation which marks its dedication to Bareth. Pray to Bareth. All things can be reforged. Your words seem to fade once voiced, as if they are cast into a vast emptiness. The hall grows deathly still and silent, and then the ground starts to tremble beneath your feet.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's.
Don't even slowing it.
Pray to Bareth. You kneel and pray to Bareth. Even while your eyes are closed, you see a road that seems to stretch on forever. The stars wheel overhead in a clockwork rotation of constellations, disappearing over the horizon to your left, only to rise on your right. You try to make out the details on either side of the road, but your eyes can't seem to focus. One moment you think you see a meadow blanketed with mist and another sheer canyon walls. For just an instant you even see waves lapping at the edges of the road. Were you to step into the shift in landscape, you feel certain you would only end up back on the road. You know this is a vision, but the packed dirt feels firm beneath your feet and the night air cool on your face. You are walking. Your feet seem to carry you forward of their own accord. Something looms ahead of you. As you get closer, you see tombstone figures that look strangely familiar. Our old friends, Life and Death and Life. We're in the realm of the twinned god, and here are its two aspects. You remember the door to Cleoban Relag and the two figures carved into the mountain next to it. One looks vaguely male and the other vaguely female. Only a thin layer of flesh covers their skeletal bodies, which twist to face the doorway between them. The doorway, however, is not what you saw in the ruins. It's a skull, gaping and jawless, and as you look on, its open mouth seems to grow. The arms of the two stone sculptures are swept towards the mouth, inviting you in. Enter the skull's mouth. The road continues through the maw to another shift in landscape surrounded by stars. As you pass through it, you see an identical doorway in the distance. A dwarven man stands near it, unmoving. You turn and look behind you, only to see the skull gate you just passed facing you. An elven woman waits in the road. Like the dwarf, she stands still. Approach the elven woman. You start towards her. There's something unnatural about the way she stands. She's too still. When you get closer, you see that her legs taper into a slender trunk, and in place of her feet are gnarled, twisting roots. She lifts her face to an invisible sun. Her long golden hair is the color of autumn leaves, and as you look more closely, you realize that her head is actually covered with tendrils and vines, sprouting brilliant yellow leaves. Each glimmers with the essence of an entire soul. She gives you a beatific smile. As you look on, the leaves slowly fall from her head and settle at her roots. They melt into the path beneath her, and almost immediately new leaves sprout in the place of the old. She reaches toward you, still smiling, as roots spring from her fingertips. Her outstretched arms bar the path. Come, graft your soul to the golden grove. Take her hand. Her roots twine around your fingers, and as they do, they grow rigid and cold. Her outstretched arm petrifies, and as a rough stone bark overtakes her flesh, she can only look on in horror. You break away from her brittle grasp. Her feet are rooted in place, but she twists and writhes as if trying to flee her own dying limb. The petrification reaches her shoulder and spreads down her body, freezing it in a painful arc. It creeps up her neck, and she throws her face skyward like a drowning swimmer. The grayness covers her face, freezing her gasp in stone. Now that she is still and lifeless, you can continue past her. Only the golden leaves of her head remain untouched, and as you watch, they fall one by one to the path below. They shrivel as the simmering essence fades from them. You lift your gaze and see the dwarven man standing further down the road. Approach the dwarven man. You continue down the road towards him. He looks up as you approach, but you can't tell if he's looking at you or through you. His face is smooth but flaccid, as if the flesh has detached from the muscles underneath. As you look on, his face begins to change. Wrinkles crack at the corner of his eyes. His mouth sinks, carving deep lines from his nose to the corners of his lips. His jowls sag and the loose flesh hangs like dough. He raises his cupped hands. They're covered in blood. He lifts them to his face and smears himself from his newly creased forehead to the wattles of his neck. As he massages the dark, sticky fluid into his skin, the fresh wrinkles disappear. The hanging folds recede, and his flesh tightens as if re-adhering to his skull. He lifts his head, and this time you know he's looking at you. His renewed face looks like a mask, artificially smooth and still. Behind it, his black eyes are two hungry pits, yawning like the empty mouths of skulls. Come, make your sacrifice to the Etheric Knoll. His body blocks the path. He extends a bloody hand towards you. Take his hand. You grab his hand, but his skin gives too easily under your grip. As you try to pull away, you hear a noise like dried canvas tearing. His skin splits, following a long seam that begins at his arms and stretches the length of his body. Blood gushes forth in such quantities that you can't imagine there was ever anything else in him. Sure enough, as the dwarf empties of blood, he collapses like a desiccated husk. The blood in the path gleams with 1,000 souls worth of essence. The essence evaporates, trailing shining filaments into the night sky. Only now that he is dead can you continue onward. The blood pools around your feet, and a voice echoes along the road, barely more than a whisper on the breeze. Return them to the wheel. You look up and see the skull gate ahead of you. The candles of Terra Everon wink through the open mouth. Leave.
I could go for some shut-eye about now.
Just making sure I was done with their dialogue. Piercing ring fills your ears as you near Whale Shrine. There is no other response. Once more you approach the shrine and the constellation of the Beast of Winter. This time the cold emanating from the shrine is unmistakable. A thin frost is formed upon the edges of the stone. Pray to Rimgand. All life ends in stillness. You feel sun ghost the cold air, as if the shrine were bursting into wintry life. The frigid wind cuts through you like a sharpened blade, and the darkness encroaches upon the edges of your sight. You kneel and close your eyes. As you pray, the blackness fades to white, and a howling wind fills your ears. The vision that slowly resolves itself is of a broad frozen plain. You see a procession of elves in the distance, periodically fading into and emerging from the whiteness. They trudge over snowbanks, their heads down against the driving winds. I know this place. This is the White that wins. As they trek past you, one man bundled in furs turns his head. You headed for Noonfrost and the Frost-hewn breach too? Before you can answer, he's lumbered ahead. You follow the caravan, and in a couple of minutes you come to a wall of ice. It disappears into a pale emptiness overhead, and stretches as far as you can see in either direction. The elves stop in front of a mirror-smooth section that's framed like a temple door. It seems somehow thinner than the rest of the wall. You can't see what's on the other side, but a debilitating cold emanates from within. The elves pull pickaxes and shovels from their sealskin packs and begin hacking at the smooth ice, their implements flying through the air in swift, shining arcs. Though they throw their bodies into their labor, not one of them as so much as scratches the polished ice. Yet with each blow, something bellows in the distance. Whatever that is, it's huge and angry. Sagani squints into the whiteout, and it's coming our way. Editor calls out to the elves, "Hey, you might want to hold off on that," but that howling wind seems to swallow up his voice. The elves hack away, seemingly oblivious to the furious lowing and to the tremors under your feet. The snow has risen to your knees, your legs feel frozen in the drifts. Try to get the elves' attention. You grab the nearest elf by her shoulder, shaking her and yelling over the howling winds. You point in the direction of the booming noise, but she only scowls. "Leave us, traveler. We've got to get through. We can't stay on this side any longer." "Listen, you're angering something very big. You'd better stop." The elf strains to listen. As she rests her pick in the mountain snow, some of her fellows pause in their labors. A man with a withered, frostbitten finger turns. He raises his maimed hand, and the others stop as well. They stand motionless for several seconds before you realize they're frozen entirely. You touch the elf nearest to you, and he crumbles into a mound of snow. A final gale blows past, scattering the remains of the elves in a chaotic flurry. You notice a single spiderweb crack in the smooth barrier. It's the only thing that mars the perfect surface of the ice. Whatever's on the other side of the strange doorway, you feel it tugging at you. Only when you look back and see the parallel gashes trailing behind your legs in the snow do you realize how strong its pull is.
My end comes to all things in time. Seal the frost-hewn breach, and instruct the pilgrims in the patience of Remergond.
Plug the hole with a handful of snow. You fill your hand with snow and shove it into the crack. It hardens instantly, and a hoary rime grows over the smooth surface of the frozen doorway, fusing it with the rest of the wall. When you take your hand away, a perfect crystal of ice remains in your palm. As you examine the crystal, the vision around you fades, but the unmelting shard of ice remains in your hand. Okay, so now we have another quest for Noonfrost. Let's head back to Noonfrost. But first we're going to find an inn so we could rest up. There's got to be an inn in Twin Elms. Actually, probably not. There's probably one. Oh.
Stop right there.
Okay, I'm stopped.
You're in the wrong city, Inquisitor. Did you think you wouldn't be recognized here in your old home? I've seen your trials with my own eyes.
I've seen you light pyres with good people tied to them, people I'd known many a year. He seizes you by the throat and your airway tightens. Whether real or imagined, you cannot tell. They deserve your confession. He raises the point of his sword, holding it a hair's breadth from your eye.
Suros, what are you doing?
Startled, the soldier releases you immediately and turns to face the speaker, a woman in a plain wool tunic, fully a head shorter than he, but somehow seeming to tower over him. You have seen this woman's face before, but from afar, bloodied and burned as she lay stretched across an iron wheel. At the moment, it is marked only with concern. Hey, thank you for the raid, Bacon Bite. How's your stream? What were you streaming? Welcome, viewers from Bacon Bite's stream. I'm Ponzeric, and I'm streaming Pillars of Eternity. It's going alright, not too bad. Just enjoying some good old computer role-playing game. It's a good game so far. I don't know how far you are, but it is a very good game. Harkens back to the old Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale style. I've been liking it so far.
An assassin sent by the Inquisition, my lady, daring to approach our camp.
Longer game than I anticipated. I'm 60 hours in, last I checked. And I still have tons of side quests and both of the DLCs to do. Cool. Yeah, I killed Raedric as well, and it's an interesting quest line. It's pretty fun. Thank you for the follow, Bacon Bite. If he is so poor an assassin as to approach an armed guard in daylight, I should have nothing to fear. I would hear what this man has to say. She stares him down until he can no longer face her. He turns away sour-faced, watching you through sidelong glances, his knuckles white around the pommels of his sword. Yeah, it didn't quite... Yeah, it didn't seem like Kolsk was entirely on the up and up either. It didn't seem like there was good options either way, really.
Surely this is some trick of my mind. I did not expect to see you again.
Grand Inquisitor... I don't really want to lie. Grand Inquisitor Deus Ex Arcana dispatched me here to spy on you. Are things as desperate as that over there? I'd never have known. I hope your next assignment is more stimulating. Listening to my lectures is dull work for a spy. It is. Special to have an old pupil return to me. I must have done something right, even after having taught so much that was wrong. Whatever your reasons, I've missed you overall these years. Having you here now, at a time when I'm surrounded by strangers, is a wonderful gift.
I would like for you to stay here, in our camp, as my guest.
My lady Ivara, I beg of you. This is an Inquisitor. This is a desperate attempt on your life. The only way it can succeed is if you allow it to.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. If I can't have faith in one man's ability to reason, once he knows the truth, what hope do we have?
My lady, he admits being a spy.
That should make him less of a threat, wouldn't you agree? I have nothing to hide. All I see here is an opportunity to persuade someone who could help us. We have many former missionaries here. They are our most loyal, our most helpful. Many have died for us. These are not people we should be turning away. And if the Inquisition wants my life, they can have it. But they know as well as I do that my cause will not die with me. Come. We have much to talk about.
Alright, not entirely sure what all that was about. Another past life thing. So we're looking for an inn. But I don't think there's an inn here, so we will just head to the other area where I know there's an inn. If you don't mind my asking, Bacon Bite, what kind of character did you roll for yourself in Pillars of Eternity? Let's go to Hearst Song. I know there's an inn there.
Close your eyes, Watcher. Not all of us are on such bad terms with sleep.
Okay, there has to be an inn somewhere. I think the Celestial Sapling has an inn? Maybe? I thought Hearth Song would have an inn, but maybe not. I was asking what kind of character you rolled for Pillars of Eternity. Race, class, etc. Alright, here we can
Well
rest.
met, friend.
Ah, cool, cool. Yeah, I rolled an Amoa Paladin. Eventually, I do plan on completing Pillars of Eternity 100%, and then eventually playing Deadfire as well, because these kind of games are just cool. I love old style computer RPGs. Oh, really? That's cool. So you customized your characters after your community. That's pretty awesome. That's actually a good idea. I'd like a room to heal up. Let's see how close I am to leveling my characters. Pretty close. Not too far. That's cool. You need that's a pretty good idea, good way of keeping your chat invested in the characters. Okay, let's see. So I know where we're going. We're going back to Noonfrost because I was not finished there. I've got a few quests for Noonfrost, so we'll head there. Maybe it'll get me enough experience completing all those quests and level my characters up one more. Okay, I believe it's in Old Song. Cool. Barbarian, Rogue, Ranger, Paladin, Cypher. Pretty varied makeup.
Does music sound different to you in your ears? Or...
I find it unpleasant.
Most everything seems shrill when I'm a Stelgar.
Maybe your keen senses just haven't heard truly fine music yet.
A masterfully crafted annoyance is still an annoyance.
Okay, maybe they'll let me do something without pissing them all off this time. I didn't want to have to do things that would cause them to attack me. Maybe they'll let me in legit now. I've got their god's orders to let me in, basically. It's been a while since I saved. I'm looking for the frost-hewn breach. The bear's flush rises in her pale cheeks. As I said, only the shrine in the eastern wing is open. The rest of the temple's closed to visitors right now. I suggest that you make your devotions there and leave. Her cheeks flush, Watcher. Perhaps she misinterpreted what you meant by frost-hewn breach. I hear you, Durance. They're not going to let me in without pissing them off, I don't think. Let me check the eastern area, just to be sure. I don't think anything would be in here. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for the raid and the follow, Bacon Bite. I appreciate it, man. I'll add you to my host rotation when I'm done with the game.
Margren's fire cast light in dark.
See, I can get in all these rooms, but if I meet any of the Pale Elves, they're gonna attack. If I go in their doors. Maybe it's something in here. The shrine is in here. The water, well, we already knew that. So, what I don't get, maybe they'll let me in now? Doesn't seem like it. I don't want to have to kill these guys. There's got to be a way to talk this person around. I mean, I've got the key. I can get in. It's not even a question of that. It's a question of I don't want them to attack me and me be forced to kill them. But I may not have a choice to get these quests done. If even their god's word won't let me get past them safely. Let me just see if there's any new conversation options. There isn't. I guess I have no choice but to make them... to have them attack me on sight. Let me save my game, and if I don't like how things go once I'm done with this area, I will just reload it and figure out another way.
Margren's fire cast light in dark
Siana.
Ulu Ben. Get on.
And what does the flame reveal?
Right.
Grimoire. Put the grimoires on my main character to give to my wizard next time I'm there.
I'll give it a try, at least.
Try and do as little casualties as possible. Despite the chill, the bedrolls feel warm inside. I apologize for my dog howling in the background. Just, it's like an old person sitting on the porch watching the world go by. Dog's the same way. Looks out the window, watches the world go by, occasionally howling or making noise at people. She's a good dog, though.
At least.
Oh, another key. Okay.
What's this?
Ulu Ben.
These guys really have no shot against my team. Okay, another grimoire. Frost smudged with handprints covers these books. Oh, another grimoire. Alright, excellent. A book. The chair radiates an unnatural, bone-chilling cold. Let's have my guy take the trap away, defuse it. No.
Following your lead.
1 second. I need to find out what the wife is screaming about, whether good or for ill. Sorry about that. The wife just won a solo Fortnite match, and she was extremely ecstatic. She's won them before, but it's rare enough where she gets really excited. Yes, disarm the trap. Two-handed quarterstaff. Durant's used a quarterstaff. He might use one again. Let's take a look.
Mowing
Okay, so let's see. First, let's look at Durant, see if he has any weapon skills. He does not, so he's not focused on any particular weapon type. He started with the quarterstaff, and I ran him with the quarterstaff most of the time, but I got him a scepter two-handed that he was using. But let's look at this. The weapon reach is handy. Let's see what we can enchant it with. Let's do spirit. We get a lot of spirits. Let's compare the damage. Yeah, let's go back to melee with him. I liked him better with the quarterstaff anyways. The scepter is something Aloth can use if I use him in my party again. So that means putting him back up here.
Yeah. And what does the flame reveal?
It's definitely a good reach on that. Okay, so let's save our game. We got a new weapon for Durance. My initial inclination is to call him Durance, but it's actually pronounced Durance. So every now and then you'll hear me say Durance instead of Durance because it's my natural pronunciation of what I think his name should be pronounced as. So I try and be good about it, but I'm kind of bad once I've got a name in my head. Glassfall. As you near the platform, the temperature drops sharply. Something saps every last bit of warmth from the air, leaving the breath of your lungs cold as it escapes your lips. You see a doorway filled in with glowing ice. Silhouetted against it is an elven man, his arms outstretched.
Gods, it's gotten hard to concentrate. You shouldn't be here, traveler. And the others of my clan won't be so lenient if they find you sneaking around.
Rimgrand sent me to close the frost-hewn breach. His red eyes widen. And trap us here another 100 lifetimes? Even one as impassive as you must see the agony in this existence. He shakes his head, weariness creeping back into his eyes. We can't continue like this. We've got to find a way into the White Void. The White Void?
Rimergon's domain. A place where all things are mingled like snowflakes in a blizzard. It's a vortex of such chaos that even the Beast of Winter himself could not calculate the trajectory of the infinite particles of essence there. As souls are broken down over successive reincarnations, they become part of the White Void. It is a place where all things find perfect unity and freedom. The frost-hewn breach is a weak spot in the barrier between us and the White Void. Thin ice on a frozen lake. We've come from the White that wends to find it.
And you want to open the breach.
So that we can die. Permanently. We've lived more lifetimes than any mortal should. We've been faithful followers of Rimergon since our earliest incarnations. He's the god of entropy. Why would he force us to be reborn again and again?
Hervé looks at Glassfall solemnly and then looks to you. That rage sounds painfully familiar. Why did the god of Seekers punish me for asking a question? Still, I wish I could give him the peace Whale has shown me. The gods act in ways that are unknowable to us. To ascribe them motivations is to assume them to be folk, not gods. Better to accept in advance than to lament and stay stuck in one place.
But if anything could pass through the frost-hewn breach, it would enter directly into the White Void. This death is overdue for us. We just have to find a way through.
Tell me about you and your people.
We call ourselves Glomfellan. Most here know us as Pale Elves. We hail from the White that wends, a glacial continent at the southernmost edge of Eora.
Maybe if I can help them get through, they won't attack me on sight anymore, since I'm trespassing. They're nomads, hardy lot. Some of the tribes occasionally spend a season in southern Nasatik.
We received a watcher in our lands a season ago and paid her to tell us of the origins of our souls. We wanted to contemplate the essence that fills us and consider how Rimergaunt might shatter and sow us once our days are spent. We were not prepared for what we learned.
I don't think the Watcher was either. She explained that every one of us had been reborn whole into the clan over centuries, generations spanning back to the first days our people set foot on the White that wins. We had all been cut off from the mercy our God promises. That night we began awakening, experiencing fragments of our past lives, old hatreds, dead passions, tangled memories. It illuminated nothing but the realization that we're doomed to live 1,000 pointless lives, never closer to Rimgand's salvation. How did he conclude those lives were pointless? Herr-Weiss ponders aloud behind you. Maybe Rimgand showed them exactly what they asked, and they can't see the answer in front of them. I suppose when one seeks when they ought to listen, a leap of reasoning is to be expected. We want to die. We want Rimgand to scatter our souls into the ether, that their million fragments might join with the White Void. He looks at his hands and the single frostbitten finger. My magic hasn't found a way through the frost-hewn breach yet, but there must be one. Give him the glowing ice crystal. Rimgand gave me this ice shard to close the breach. Perhaps it will let you through. Glassval cups his hands around the shard, his face lit by its frozen glow. A token from the Beast of Winter himself? He closes his hands around the frozen crystal. You've given us a gift that's been denied to us for centuries. Thank you. He summons the rest of the Pale Elves, and they gather around the frost-hewn breach. Looks like it worked. I've lost reputation. I helped them. What kind of bullshit is that? The gleaming wall of ice seems to leach all the warmth from the room. The cold scars your skin and you draw back before touching it. Well, that's kind of crap. I helped them and I lost reputation.
I'm on the trail.
That's disappointing. I figured that if I helped the elves, things would be good. I don't think I was supposed to do that, though. Something tells me I was supposed to leave them to suffer or whatever. Oh well. Can't please everybody all the time.
I can do that. As requested.
Let's finish exploring the rest of the place with the rest of the quests I have.
I think I see something.
Because we have another quest in here to locate some woman. Haven't located
I'll
her
give
yet.
it a try, at least. As requested.
There she is. A young Orlan scrambles on the stone floor, pressing her back against the wall and baring her teeth at you. Her fur is patchy and matted. As you step into the room, she squints and turns her large ears towards you. A heavy sigh escapes her tiny body. Beast, take me. My eyes mistook you for one of them. Please, get me out of here. What happened to you? When Noonfrost began freezing the lake, my sister, Lara, sent me to seek out the cause. She scowls at the dingy room. The pale elf Estromorn seized me before I could report back. These pale elves are behind it. They showed up in the Twin Elms not long ago, saying they wanted to see to the upkeep of Noonfrost. I don't know how, but they opened the frost-hewn breach at the back of the temple. Sucks warmth and life straight into their frozen god's barren domain, she shivers. They've got to be stopped. It's only a matter of time before the cold spreads further. Tell me about the people that captured you. She snarls, her pointed teeth flashing. A clan of pale elves from the white that wins. Devotees of Rimgrand, or so they claim. Their actions suggest other intent. They've come ready to fight, wizards, priests, and paladins. A wizard named Glavashal leads them, a man obsessed with the frost-hewn breach. My ears hear him through the wall, casting spells and calling upon strange powers. I don't know what he wants with it, but no good can come from it. Can you tell me anything about the frost-hewn breach? She shakes her head. Not really. Something to do with Rimgrand, the beast of winter. I follow Galloway myself. It isn't safe yet. Wait until I clear the path. Please hurry. Alright, let's finish going this way. Ah, Durance can level up. Durance. That helps Sword and Arquebus, but I don't use either. That's not really all that good either. Let's do a bonus 4th level spell, because that's his best heal. Water drips from the edges of the alcove.
I can do that. I can do that. As requested. I'll give it a try, at least. As requested.
Looks like all the elves went back to the void. So I guess it's safe for me to tell her that, well, let me go back this way, just to make sure it's clear of elves. Looks like it's clear. Make a run for it, go. She turns toward the hall, her large ears angled forward. As fast as my feet can carry me, she scrambles for the exit on emaciated arms and legs. At the door, she glances back at you. Thank you, Estromor, and be careful. She melts into the shadows. I didn't handle that as good as I should have, but there's no take-backsies, so... I probably should have just attacked the White Elves there, instead of letting them go into the void. Return to Lara and the Maw. Okay, so the Maw's right here. The Orlan stands under the open sky, taking deep breaths of fresh air. Feels like I've been reborn. She thumps you on the shoulder. Come by the Maw sometime. The rest of the Fangs will want to meet the cunning Estremor who freed me. Right where I was going. Till you interrupted me. Wait, let's talk to her and see if she has anything else to say. Nope. Now, if I remember right, her sister was in the southern room. Over here. Yep, there she is. What purpose brings you here? I found Alwa. Your own eyes have seen her? I freed her from Noonfrost. She's just enjoying the fresh air before she returns. She releases a gasp of relief. You've accomplished a great service. For the Fangs, and for me. Lara takes another deep breath. I was wrong about you, Estremor. I did not see you truly. Please, accept a gift worthy of your honor and skill. And here comes Alwa.
Estremor.
Alwa waves at you, a broad smile on her thin mouth. Her fur is sleek and glossy now, and then there's a mischievous twinkle in her eye. Good to see you again. How are you? Whole and well, thanks to you. Not that Lara's given me a chance to rest, she eyes another Orlan woman. My sister makes me earn my keep around here. You spent long enough stuck in that frozen cell, didn't you? Your limbs need exercise now. Teach me what you know. She laughs, as long as you can keep up. I was granted Blooded Hunter. Not sure what that is. Passive. +1 damage reduction / pierce. +1 stealth. Okay, cool. And I also have a new medium armor. +2 stealth, +2 perception. What kind of armor does she use? She uses light. He uses medium. He uses light. He uses medium. That might be good for him. Let's see. Exceptional. And slash proofed. Let's send that there. Okay. We also have to turn in the quest that the god may not be happy about because we didn't really do what he wanted. We're supposed to seal the breach. Instead, we use that power to help the elves. So the god's probably going to be a little pissed. But it is what it is. If there's one thing video games have taught me, in all the dealings of all the characters with gods, you just
Great,
can never make
wonderful.
the gods happy.
What? Sorry, I lost track of things when you got to the part about when you mentioned the thing.
Would you prefer it if Nirawa were facing a Stelgar while undressed?
How about half dressed? Mail on top, nothing on bottom. Tell the story like that next time.
Okay, so let's go to Elm's Reach and turn in that quest to Rimgrand.
That's why I didn't gut you.
I didn't know I was saying something bad.
I get it. I get it. Let's just put it behind us.
Now that we're friends again, is it okay if I pet you?
What? No! Damn it, Adair. Is your family tree just one looping square?
Rimgrand is over here, I believe. We're gonna live with consequences of my actions of not sealing the Noonfrost breach. You pray again, and the vision of the white plain emerges. The driving wind returns in a chaos of whirling snow. Something moves at the center of the blizzard, plodding but relentless. As the snowstorm gets closer, you see an aurochs, as colossal and slow as a glacier. Its shaggy white hair is matted with frost, but beneath it, ribs like a ship's frame protrude. Visible puffs of air issue from Sagani's gaping mouth. It's the beast of winter. A man, emaciated and almost naked, huddles at the beast's legs. His body is scored with lash marks, and his nose and ears have been carved from his face. His black eyes pierce the whiteout. The aurochs stops and stands before you, enveloping you in the violent blizzard that surrounds it. Though its mouth does not move, the beast speaks in a deep, thunderous voice.
A crack in the ice. A fissure in a glacier. I showed you the frost-hewn breach that you might seal it. But you pried it wider for the sake of the Glomfelin, whose souls I had not yet begun to hew away. For all things there is a season. You brought them to winter before their time.
But you're the god of entropy. I gave their souls entropy.
Entropy is chiseling ice and hammering wind. Generations of erosion. It is not rushed for the impatience of mortals. If you are too hasty to understand this, then you are not suited to the task ahead.
As the beast begins its slow, deliberate turn, you catch a final glimpse of the scarred man clinging to its legs. He narrows his black eyes and looks at you with smug, vicious glee. Rimgrand recedes, and the whiteout follows him. As the visions of snow fades and disappears, it leaves in its wake the flagstones of Terra Everin. What quest did I fail? Into the void. Where is it? I want to see exactly what the quest is. Where is it? Into the void, into the void. Was it a task? Into the white void. I don't want to... Looks like it's too late. Oh well. Just have to deal with it. I failed a quest. My first quest I failed. Disappointed. I would have loaded a previous game. I just don't have one. All the autosaves were from before. Oh well. Moving on. Okay, so let's head out from here. So let's see what Northfield is about.
The figurine. It's glowing.
That means Sagani's quest is in this area. Clear the fog of war. We do it in a logical manner. Work our way around the outskirts so we have an outline. Then we fill it in. It's just the way I play these type of games. I logically clear out the fog of war by going around the outside edges first.
Let's go.
Tracks along the shallow head east. They're spackled with blood. Arrows crude and flesh with bright feathers protrude from the corpse. Thought I could loot them, but apparently not. The inscriptions on this altar, almost unreadable under a layer of thick moss, pay homage to Hylia. Looks like it's gonna force me around this. Okay, since I'm not even able to get up there, I'm gonna, instead of just doing the border, I will just section it off into sections. The tracks and bloodstains continue further east. The spear, broken in half, has ornate clawed etchings along the two halves of its shaft. The wet wood shows dents stained green with moss, probably from impacts against the river rocks. So what we'll do is we'll go along the southern edge and work our way up and around. Gwyneth. Over here, hurry. Gwyneth hides in the tall underbrush. Twigs poke out of her hair. Chunks of dried mud cling waist-high to her leather leggings. Quiet, keep low. Take a look, she points up the ridge. My friends are up there, over the lip of the hill. There were signs of battle at the camp. Gwyneth nods, her lower lip crushed beneath her teeth. I wasn't fast enough. Pox-ridden fangs. Magrin burned them all. What's going on? The fangs must have caught the scent and rushed the group. She begins to run her gloved fingers over her hair and stops. The pressure snaps one of the twigs stuck on her black curls. Some of my friends are still alive, but the fangs have them surrounded. The expedition, Gwyneth brings her hands back to the pommel of her estoc, or what remains of it, has taken cover in some ruins above these cliffs. The fangs must be toying with them, or letting them starve a bit before the next attack. We need to act, or they're as good as dead. How did the fangs get here? Gwyneth looks down to her feet, shaking her head slowly. I cut a decoy path, set false campfires, and dusted over every footprint I could find. It didn't slow them much. I'll see what I can do. Gwyneth nods. Maybe you can find a way around the fangs. There's got to be another way up to that ridge. She wipes away the sweat from her brow, her glove leaving behind a dirty smudge. You aren't dressed like my men. Perhaps you could try talking to the fangs? They might not think you're with us. She grabs your hand, squeezing it. Please help. I already have enough friends to bury. Gwyneth releases your hand and crouches down into the vegetation, blending back into the brush. Okay, let's see. A couple characters can level up here. Skip the point distribution so that I could put something in athletics next. Okay, nothing there. Let's do 10 defense against blinded, stuck, prone, hobbled, dazed attacks. Sounds good. And let's see, him. Summon 2 ogres. Friendly AoE revive with 62 endurance. That might be nice. Let's do the AoE revive for if we get in trouble. +5 accuracy against distant enemies, and he's a ranged character, so that's perfect.
Following your lead.
Okay, so let's go around the edge and see if we can find another way up. Let's see. Oh, how did I miss? It wouldn't let me scroll. Weird. Got my little tabby cat, Redbeard cat, following me. Okay, that's the fangs. I'm trying to find another way up. Let's follow the river, see where the river takes us.
I have. Let's go.
Summon our Drake.
Oh, I'm 10.
Mo Ixiana.
Awakened root. This boot lies halfway buried in mud in the riverbank as if it had been flushed from upstream. keep following the stream, see where it takes us.
Those wounds. They look like they came from a Stelgar's claws.
Beneath the raging waterfall, the corpse of an elven Glanfathan hunter lies shattered against the rocks. Broken bones protrude through its skin, but you also notice deep parallel cuts in the rotting flesh. The slashes trace almost every part of the body, as if it had been ravaged by a dozen blades. This man probably died before his fall from the cliffs above. You touch the dead elf's forehead, droplets of water glistening down its purple surface, and feel a sudden jolt from the hunter's lingering essence. The world around you fades away. You're walking among the underbrush without making a sound. Moonlight catches sight of your arms, shining them pale, but you quickly dart again into the shadows of the giant trees of the North Weald. Your blood brother is not so deft, as you expected. Look at him, frail, unaware. He doesn't deserve to share the glory of this hunt. It's been countless seasons since a Stelgar like this one, twice the size of its lesser kin, have roamed the forest near Twin Elms. Arthwin fell for the trick. You almost feel pity for him, but you've convinced yourself that he'd only get in the way once the killing begins. He'll be safer by the river, expecting that we'll flank the Stelgar when it comes out to drink. But this kill will be only yours. The Stelgar is larger than you imagined. It stands without fear atop the waterfall's ridge, its silhouette cutting a monstrous hole against the mantle of the night sky. A beast of legend, a true hunter. Your hand tightens around the shaft of your father's spear. The weight feels balanced, just right, as you prepare the throw. You put everything into it. The spear flies true and hits its mark. The Stelgar didn't even hear a sound. Its blood spills bright on the rocks, yet it stands unfazed. The beast pounces. Moonlight shines over its great fangs. Your hands draw your blades without a second thought as you lunge forward to meet this monster. It's fast. It's ripping your flesh apart. You stab at the darkness engulfing you, deep, again and again, but there is no slowing its embrace. So he got owned by a Stelgar. Not just any Stelgar. It sounds like a massive Stelgar. Okay, so I get the feeling I could probably go up this way and up and around. Maybe. The leather packet's belongings washed down the current of the river gleams like a wet rock. Yeah, I can go up this way. Okay.
Will they die?
Moe. Ixiana.
Good shot for this.
Ixiana.
Following your lead. Roak 10!
Dead on.
Quiet.
The clouds above the cliffs of the North Weald reflect on the iridescent surface of this pillar of Adra. I don't want to go up those stairs quite yet, I don't think. Let me finish exploring the Fog of War. You come upon a clearing and see a group of Gonfathans standing in a circle. Sagani glances from the Adra statuette to the hunters, looking for a connection. Meanwhile, the hunters turn and notice you. Their bows are drawn. Does the name Persoc sound familiar to any of you?
What kind of Estromor foolishness is this?
They step aside and turn to you, and as they do, you see something on the ground behind them. Lying amidst the ferns is a white stag. Dark blood mars its brilliant coat, and its sides tremble with quick, shallow breaths. You feel a presence in the beast, something ancient and familiar. Before you can speak, something thumps to the ground. You look down and see the Adra bear, its bright glow flickering.
Auric's shadow.
Sagani draws up beside you, her wide eyes fixed on the dying stag. So that stag was Persoc. Vani sniffs at the air, and a look of bewilderment spreads over his face. That white stag, a man's soul stirs within the poor creature. One of the hunters takes a step forward, and Sagani raises her bow, an arrow nocked.
Any closer, and you'll bleed out next to him.
Her voice is low and tremulous.
I never thought I'd prepared myself to meet a stranger. To share the honor and history of my village with someone who had no knowledge of us. Even someone who'd scorn our way of life.
Say nothing, Stoic. My character leans stoic and rational, so I have to go with the stoic option.
I was going to tell him about the years of abundance in Masuk. How his granddaughters have hunted caribou, and his grandsons made our walls strong. But he'll be gone in minutes.
Trust your instincts.
There's no point to any of this, is there?
She kneels by the fallen stag, placing her hand on its head. She begins speaking. Her voice is steady and measured, and her words are guttural and unfamiliar. At first, you think she's reciting a poem in her native language. After a moment, you realize that she's listing the names of every person in her village. At last, you hear her speak her own name. The stag takes a final shuddering breath and falls still.
If you've finished your chanting, we need to get to work before the meat spoils.
Did your elders teach you even a mouse dropping's worth of decency? There will be other kills to dress and eat. but there will only be this one chance for Sagani to say her due respects.
She looks up, and for a moment horror and anger flash through her eyes. But as she looks at the dead deer, she shrugs and turns, leaving the lusterless Adra figurine in the dirt.
I've finished what I came to do. Let's go.
All that searching just to have the deer, or all just to have Persock be killed.
Let's go!
Right.
Over a ground hardened by dry blood and stomped leaves, the corpse of a giant Stelgar crawls with flies. Its flesh has been pierced and cut, as if stabbed by spears and slashed by swords. You touch the dead Stelgar's flank. A cloud of flies stirs into the air, and suddenly you feel the creature's remaining essence. The world around fades away. The pack rests. Rocks shelter the young with full bellies. You turn away and look beyond the trees. The moon breaks over their swaying canopy. A scent in the air stirs a tingling in your mouth. You slide into the shadows, the taste of hunt filling your nostrils. Light shines on the stones by the water that falls. Prey down below, two-legged, hair like dry grass. It moves near the water that flows. Thin legs, slow, noisy, unaware. It holds a sharp stick. Two-legged hunter, weak hunter. Prey. Closer, prey. Bright moon, prey. Into the dark. Pain on your side. A sharp stick pokes out of your flank. You roar and shake it. It snaps, breaking on the stones. Wet stones, your blood. Leaves rustle. You look. Another two-legged, another hunter. Thick legs, silent steps, stripped face. Strong hunter, enemy. You leap, aiming at its neck. It moves fast. Your claws find flesh, ripping it deep, ripping it down. Wet leaves, two-legged blood. It howls, it fights back. Long claws cut through the air. They slash at your flesh. More pain, sharp pain. You strike, it strikes. Hot blood on your claws, hot cuts on your chest. The world goes red. Your strength fails. You can't breathe. The two-legged hunter looks down. Wet ground, our blood. Sharp stick above its head. Bright moon above its head. Strong hunter, the world goes dark.
will evade our...
I don't know how that was resolving the stalemate. That's what I was working on doing.
Right.
Maybe I took too long. Maybe there's a time thing. I don't know. Guess we're about to find out. Stop, friend or foe? The man in blood-soaked armor points his blade at you as his wounded and worried comrades flock into position behind him. A trickle of blood runs from a cut on his brow down to his neck, staining a locket worn on a gold chain. You're not Glanfathan. He tightens the grip of the sword's handle. By Magrin, friend or foe, I said. Calm down, I'm a friend. Sword still pointing at you, the man gives a sideways glance to his companions and nods. The mercenaries lower the weapons. A rare and welcome sight. Friends this far from home. He lets the weight of his sword lower his arm. He gives a concerned look to his mercenary company. Look at us, hiding in the rocks and holding in our guts. He points south to Fangs. They've bloodied us and now we're trapped. Quineth sent me. What happened? Resourceful girl. The captain huffs a chuckle before returning to his humorless frown. We assumed the Glanfathans killed her before coming upon us. I'm relieved she's alive. Doubly relieved she's brought help. He rests his sword, still caked with blood, across his shoulders. The tribesmen ambushed us just as we made camp. The fight was a lopsided slaughter. Esmer stares at his feet as he finishes his thought. In the melee, someone tripped through the campfire. We were lucky in that regard. The stench of burning flesh and the choking smoke obscured the scene, and a few of us managed to withdraw. We ran to these ruins to regroup, but now we're trapped. The face painters are just south of our position, and they have us cornered. No doubt they're happy to let us starve while they rest and rebuild their strength before attacking anew. His left hand idly toys with a locket worn around his neck. Seems this is where we'll be making our last stand, he mutters as he clenches the gold ornament. If the hunters are to the south, can you flee to the north? We could run that way, maybe evade the Glanfathans if we're quick, but... The captain looks over his shoulder and shakes his head. We spotted a pack of Stalgars up there. Given the options, I'd rather some face painter kill me right quick than die slowly, bite by bite, to a feral cat. He glances northward. If I didn't know better, I'd wager those beasts are working with the tribesmen. But I'm sure they're just here following their stomachs. Just look at us, limping on our injuries and covered in blood. We must smell like a butcher's shop. At least you didn't lose your locket in the scuffle. Focusing on the positive, he asks with a laugh as he flips the locket between his calloused fingers. This is for my son, for when he's old enough to be trusted with such things. Born a few months ago. Not hollow, highly praised. Told my beloved the child would want for nothing. He looks you in the eye with an embarrassed smile. Probably should have also promised her I wouldn't throw my life away treasure hunting in Eire Glanfath. Here's hoping the boy gets his smarts from the mother side of the family. I've cleared the northern woods. Those Stalgars won't trouble you. Esmar blinks and arcs his eyebrows in surprise. All of them? The creases around his eyes deepen as his smile grows. The mercenary captain turns to his company. Hear that, boys? Looks like we got a way out. Get to it. They cheer, their voices kindled with purpose, and spring into march. Esmer raises his fist and shakes it. The locket dances as if jerked into life. The captain nods and gives you one last look before joining his companions.
Steady does it.
You aided the mercenaries, foreigner. Now will you cleanse the stains you mark upon these lands?
Lataru! Beyond Snake!
Let's go. Let's go.
Ooh, a bow. Let's give that to her.
Right.
And she is down here, I believe. Gwyneth, her gloved hands half buried in the waves of her rebellious hair, watches you approach incredulous. You did it! Her dimples frame a beaming smile. She lets out a sigh of relief and wags her finger at you. We'll be chanting your name back in the gift. Everyone will know what you've done for us, I promise. She scratches her cleft chin with her free hand, gives you a measuring look. But you're the type to deserve more than just praise. Coin? Weaponry? She rubs her gloved fingers together. Or if nothing tangible suits your fancy, I'll gladly share my skills with you. Like to learn from your skills. Gwyneth nods enthusiastically. I was hoping you'd say that. She removes the gloves from her hands, stowing them in her back pocket. When you spend as much time as I do in the ruins, you learn to strike first, and to strike without warning. She holds her istek out in front of her, its blade parallel to the ground. The key is efficiency of movement. Dungeon Delver, I was granted. She walks you through several footwork drills that focus on quiet footfalls and measured breathing. Place all your weight on the final step when you're ready to strike, she yells for emphasis as she demonstrates a swift, silent lunge. As you follow her example, she nods in satisfaction. I think you've got the grasp of it. I'm honored I could teach you something new. She half curtsies and turns to take her leave. Okay, let's level up him. Let's do Weapon Mastery Knight. Let's level up Sagani. Let's modify Wounding Shot. Got a new quest, it looks like. Expires in 2 days. Let's assign the Grieving Mother. All across the Eastern Reach, people are being buried in graveyards and returning from the dead as vampires. Examinations by locals have revealed that animancers had tampered with several gravesites prior to the burial. Local lords have released bounties for the capture of whoever is responsible. Unfortunately, the rapid spread of the events leads many to believe that group, not a single individual, was behind the experiments. Okay, let's go ahead and save our game. I'm going to call it a stream there. I do want to watch Sony's E3 press conference, so that starts in 4 minutes. So I'm going to call it a stream there. What I'll finish doing tomorrow is exploring the stairs, the cave, clearing out the fog of war along this area and here. And then we will continue doing questing. Alrighty, I appreciate the raid from Bacon Bite today. Appreciate anyone who followed. And I shall be back tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time to continue Pillars of Eternity. And then probably Wednesday we'll take a break on Pillars of Eternity and do a night of Hollow Knight, probably. So I appreciate everybody who watched, stopped by. Y'all have a good evening. Take it easy. See ya.